Okay, we're here to do the rough part of the conversation. So after him and I's intense conversation, where he told me that wives should submit to their husbands, kind of hurt a lot, except for I was not his wife because we never married. So there's that. And I had Bible study the next day. Really torn up, couldn't sleep at night, get up to Bible study, and I kind of cornered my pastor before we could even start, and I asked him a quick question about it. And he directed me towards 1 Corinthians 7, verse 10, that says, "And unto the married I command, yet not I, but the Lord, let not the wife depart from her husband. And if she depart, let her remain unmarried or be reconciled to her husband. And let not the husband put away his wife." So what that's saying is that if my ex-husband is alive, I need to stay single. Plain and simple. But I couldn't see God putting the situation where that's going to hurt my partner. Why would God want a relationship to split up? Well, there's a lot more to the picture that we don't see when we're in the moments. So at the time, I was super scared, and we dug through scripture after Bible study for like 3 hours and ended up kind of finishing out on the final thought of Luke 16:18. "Whosoever putteth away his wife and marrieth another committeth adultery. And whosoever marrieth her that is put away from her husband shall committeth adultery." So in all of the scriptures, I found that if I stayed in the relationship that I was in, I was committing adultery. And I began to feel what they call conviction. And this is probably the very first time I felt true conviction. It's not comfortable, and I'll do a whole nother video on that. But point of the matter is, you want to squirm your way away from it or excuse your way out of it, and there's no doing that because God's with you always. You can't escape that, Dad. So I sat with that for a couple of days and tried to figure out what it was I was supposed to do with this and how I was going to relay the news. And I didn't want him mad at God, and I didn't want it to go even harder than it needed to be. I wanted to continue my path the right way, and I wanted him to have the best. But what it boiled down to is where we were at in our relationship anyway. Things were just getting worse, and God put his foot down and stood up for me when I wouldn't have stood up for me. I would have continued to sit in my sorrow that I had been in for years and tried to make something work while burying myself. So that is my first rough conviction, but turned into my biggest praise and one of the biggest moments in my testimony. But there's even more.